Today we're going to talk with Omer Belisle about his long life in Nipigon. He's been here a long time. So, Omer, you're...
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Omer Belisle. I'm been living in Nipigon since 1950. What is it? Hang on, I gotta get these right. I came here in 1954, and I lived here most of my life, with partially going to live in Thunder Bay for work. Two or three times I went up there. But I'm married. I have my wife, Lainey Belisle, and three children, Wendy, Omer Jr., and Edward. His name is Ted, though. We call him Ted. And I think we got here in 1954. It was just in summertime. My dad was working at the Pine Portage Dam on the construction there, and he had a long history with hydro on construction. He worked on many dams: Sturgeon Falls, Mattawa, what they call the Cave, then here at Pine Portage. And after the job was done, he got a job permanently at Cameron Falls. So we stayed here all that time. My dad passed away in 1978, and my mother in 1983, and my brother 2001, I think it was. My oldest brother.
Right. Tell your dad's and mom's names, first names.
Oh, okay. So my dad's name was Andrew Belisle. My mother was Lila Belisle. They're both resting in the funeral at the cemetery here, and my older brother, he passed too, and then my sister, she died in I forget what day. It was 72 years old anyway. But my immediate family, that we lost a child, our first child, and he's resting in the cemetery too, and we probably will be joining him. I'm 76 years old, and I've spent my whole life working between Nipigon and Red Rock and Thunder Bay. I started the plywood mill in 1961. Got married in 1964, and the mill shut down in '67. Prior to that, I left school when I hit 16 to go to work, and when the mill closed down, I ended up going to Thunder Bay to get my high school from there. And then we came back in 1969 when the mill reopened, and we started up with 2 shifts, and that went on for 2 or 3 years, and then we went to 3 shifts. And we were bought over by McMillan Bloedel at the time. And in 1974, they offered me a position at the new chipboard mill up in Thunder Bay. So I went there to work there out of Roslyn. And I stayed there till 1981. And during that time while I was up there, I was going to night school to get my welding certifications, and I got them, and I decided to go into the construction field, and ironically came back to Nipigon with my family, and I got a job at the Red Rock paper mill, and I stayed there till it got laid off in '93, and I went back in '96. And I stayed there till 2006 when it closed. Mm-hmm. So I've been around a little bit there. And in 1985, when the C-30, I think it was 32, have come out, I was able to get my status recognized as a First Nation person. And I moved to the reserve here, Lake Helen, in 1996. And when the mill closed, I was on council for close to 8 years.
Okay, so with your time on council.
Yeah, during the time on council, it was, we were very active in trying to better the community, and we did that through we started actually buying properties in Thunder Bay, in Nipigon, and at the end we bought the chalet too. And we did that by borrowing the money, and then we got them rented these buildings out. They were able to pay back the loans, and now they're pretty stable. And when I left, the council there was $2 million or more in the bank. So we were very happy and very proud of how far we brought the community, and it's thriving now. It's I believe it is right now the most high employees in
one of the
in
reserves,
Nipigon.
right? Your reserve is very self-sufficient.
Yeah, we got over 80 people working there right now.
Right.
So we did really well, and we're very proud of that. And I continue to reside there.
So do you have your own business still?
No, when 1993, when the mill closed, I got laid off from the mill. I opened up my own business in Thunder Bay, and I did that for till 2000. And in '96, when I went back to the mill, I was doing the work at the mill and doing my work at my shop, and it was just killing me. So I had to drop it. Yeah. So.
Herman remembers you're the guy that did all the props for all the boats all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because everybody was hitting the rocks with their boats, and Herman said,
yeah.
Go to Homer. Does them so well.
Yeah, that was kind of unique.
Yeah.
I took a course. I spent 2 weeks down in southern Ontario working in a prop shop to learn that trade, and yeah, it worked out really good, and I made a lot of new friends because of that. And sometimes they keep coming back.
That's
but
good.
That's still there as a hobby now. I don't do it or advertise or anything like that. But anyway, going back in time, there was. A lot of stuff that we as kids, I can remember living down in the part of town we would call it the
DPville, they called it.
Yeah, that's right. They called it the DPville, and also the mud flats. The mud flats were here, and it was on there towards the end when I was visiting down there. In fact, that was a big play area for a lot of us as kids, and. One gentleman I remember very well is Jerry Morso. He had a little cabin there, and he lived there for till he passed away probably. But that was where most of the people who lived down there that were working in the bush or on the river, on the river drives. They were there, and also as kids growing up, we had a lot of play areas down in that area, but with the CN rail being there and the water towers, and they had to have a pump system coming out of the river, so that was all swimming areas and playing areas, and it was and the people who were living down in that area, there was houses all over there, but they weren't all in one street, and in fact, there's quite a few houses that came out of the hydro jobs. They brought those homes in by transport and relocated them there, as well as people who came to Nipigon moved down there.
Right.
It was a very, very, very strong area of the town in terms of work. Like mom and dads were working, and it just grew. And it was kind of isolated because the only way there was down Newton Street.
They had to go at the end and then up Newton.
Yeah, then the police station was on there, on the bottom of First Street in Newton, and
so there was no bridge over there, the railway track then.
No, you either had to walk around the tracks to get there, or down through Newton Street there.
That's why there's still kind of areas down there you can see where there were a road and there was pathways. If you walk that way now, you can see the old trails that were there.
Yeah, and then the kids, my kids, when they were going to school, they jumped the tracks. There was no buses at the time. You had to walk to school, and so they went through what they call the Drunkard's Bush, in between wherever that senior home is now. Yeah, it was over that way, and they going to school that way. So
it was called that for a long, long time.
Oh yeah, and And there was a lot of people that used it in the summertime and that.
Yeah.
But there was some unfortunate incidents on that walking the railroad tracks. The big gully there remember where the big flood was?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long ways down, and some of the people have drowned down there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So did you become a fisherman because you lived near the river?
Fishing was a pastime thing. It was a thing that you did when I was younger. I'd work all summer and then drop hoagie in the wintertime, so you spent your time down at the point over there by North Shore Cabins, and then we would be fishing there for the days, and it was good fun. That was a good pastime, to have.
But you caught big fish over the years because you were always in the fish derby.
Yes, we did. We did really well on the derbies, and also we were one of the few that were able to catch the big carp that were down here at the Black Bridge. Me and Terry Sutton there, we were there, and we caught some pretty big ones. And not knowing to us, the European people that live here really enjoyed eating carp. So
that was Mr. Criff.
Criff?
I understood he would pay the kids to bring him carp.
Yeah, Henry Zeus.
Oh, Henry too, eh?
Yeah, and he was. We got to get there too, and
but there are no carp there now, I don't think, eh?
You know what? I can't say there is or there isn't.
I don't think I've heard anybody catching a carp there.
They'll be there in the springtime, I think, if they're around, because they spawn there. But I know that they were in Polly Lake at one time.
But aren't you one of those that was lucky enough to catch a sturgeon too?
Not me. I didn't catch one.
You were with somebody then.
Yeah, it was George Spoljaric.
Who caught the sturgeon?
Yeah, he got one at Polly Lake.
Yeah, Polly Lake.
Yeah.
That must have been really a rare thing, or do you think there are still sturgeon there?
Well, I would say there's probably still some there, but they're a deep fish. They're not really up on the surface.
But I have pictures of you as a guide too, right?
I did a little bit of that. Yes, I did that just on when I was on shift work at the mill. I would do the days I was off for the chalet.
Right.
Yeah, down there. Yeah. My wife worked there for many years in the kitchen cooking. Yeah.
But those were the days when they really displayed their fish. I mean, that's why I got pictures, I guess, because they were allowed to catch so many fish.
Yeah, that's true. And I got you remember when they started the Nipigon Fish Derby. That started in 1964. Mm-hmm. And the fish that come in, they used to hang them on the walls.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do or now.
No, not now.
No. So that was a good time too. There was
a lot of fish
there, and I have a picture I can share with you, the fish derby that we used to have at the plywood mill. Yeah, I got on my phone. I'll give it to you after. Yeah.
But I just remember that, like, when I guess mostly Americans, but they displayed their fish. They would lay them all out because they wanted to have pictures.
Very proud
of their fish.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you guided Homer on Lake Helen, Polly Lake, or Lake Superior, where?
There was always the Americans always liked to fish the Great Northern Pike. And that's where we'd take them, wherever the pike were. And sometimes they'd be really anxious to go and get fish. And so I'd walk them to Pike Lake from the chalet. Walk down the tracks and go down there. And then you could have a fun day catching fish there. Yeah. But
you're right. They do like the pike.
Oh, yeah. And I went as far as Lake Nipigon with fishing pike too with the Americans. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. They're very friendly people, and they come back, year after year to just enjoy the outdoors and have fish and shore lunches. It was good. It was good times. Yeah.
No, the fishing, I think, is still a big part of Nipigon's lure, is for people to come here still.
Oh, definitely. We still hold that world record on speckled trout. That's hasn't been beat since 1916 or so. It's a long time holding up that trophy, for sure.
Yeah, but you'd think you'd wonder what after all those years, it still attracts people, and people still know about that. So it makes Nipigon River famous.
Yeah, well, that's what there is a book out. You must have one here in the library. That's the book was written by Demers in Red Rock.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that book there that shows all the fishing that's gone.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's some good stuff on YouTube. Is it YouTube? Yeah, maybe of Nipigon fishing and that. There's lots of there. There's you just Google Nipigon River or Lake Nipigon and it'll come up. Yeah, so yeah.
Interesting, because I haven't tried that before. So.
Yeah, that's an interesting one there. The way that the transport of the people around is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who operated the chalet, Homer, when you were?
When I was working out of there for the Barons was there.
Okay.
That was their place, and it was a family business that the kids worked and the mom and dads worked, and even the grandmas and grandpas. You know.
Were they the first ones after, like, really to own it as individual private people?
Well, the ones that I had was Gapin's. That was the first ones that I recall.
Right.
And that building, the chalet, was a CPR kind of resort hideaway for their customers.
Right.
That's where it started up from there.
I forgot about Gapin, right.
Yeah, and the Barons ran it for many years, very successfully. Then it changed hands from Mr. Bouvier.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
He owned it for a little while, and then from him it went to there was a policeman.
I think. The one that died, the
yes,
policeman there.
Smith,
Was it Smith?
I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I remember him.
And then our Joseph had it.
Right.
Yeah, and then he sold it to a fellow from Thunder Bay, and when he owned it, he had already converted it into a camp. It was closed down as a business.
Oh, okay.
And when...
Oh, he did, because he had a large family, if I remember, right?
Yeah.
And his family came out here then to spend time at that camp. Right.
Yeah, and they had their own cabins and the
right.
things that...
right.
I can't recall his name right now, but he was a Finn fella.
Right.
But we were able to... He gave us first offer when he wanted to sell out. And so we grabbed it as we could see the possibilities of reopening it. Now it's been closed. We bought that somewhere around 2008 as a band, and since then it's been being regenerated. So to the point now where the main lodge is usable, and there's cabins now that are there that are on the verge of opening that up as a business again.
Is the lodge able to be open in the wintertime?
Yes, it's the cabins that they're being put up there now and rebuilt are being insulated and all that from the heaters.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
So it'll be hopefully it's going to be a part where we can all come together and even I'm not saying just the First Nation people, it's anybody who wants to rent the lodge for their conventions or whatever, they'll be there. But at the same time, it's going to give the opportunity for our people to reach out and start businesses of their own. If you're running year-round, you can use walking trails, riding trails, and that. And if you do it right, it'll work. And I think we have some very good people with visions to see that happen. So, yeah.
So the latest endeavor I see over there, I'm waiting to get a tour of it, is your condos you're building for seniors.
Yes, yeah, that just started up this year. We were able to secure some dollars to get that going, and it's the foundation's there, the walls are on. They're just putting the roof on today now, the shingles.
Right.
Yeah, they're working right through the winter, but it's a 6 apartment building for seniors.
Right.
And it's I don't think there's going to be problems filling it up.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
No,
that's kind of a real step forward then, providing for the seniors over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be good, and that's it. It's going to be healthy for everything. Everybody is to have that opened up and working again. And we do have guys that right now, Muzzy Odawa, he does guiding now. He does that. He does that on his own.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a few other guys too that are doing it. So it'll be able to expand their business if they get people coming to the lodge and then go from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it'll work out.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Progress over there for sure when you think back to the years of only being a few houses over there, and now it's a community itself. How many people about live there, Homer?
We're over 300 now, living at there. We have 125 homes, I think, on the reserve. Most of them are owned by the band. There's some privately owned, but they're we'll be building more in the future because the east-west tie is going in right now.
Oh, right.
And if you go down there, you'll see that all the land was cleared, and they got trailers in there right now for the workers.
At that Ballard there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mm-hmm. Yeah. And when they finish up that job, I think it's 2 years or more, they'll be out of there, and then that whole area can be looked at as expansion. Yes, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Yes.
Kind of good then that you've got all that area to use.
Yes, and it's going to be good. And then we also, at the time, in 2008 or so, we bought Henry Roy's property down on the other side of the river.
Right.
And we have plans for that too, but we're not really ready to go there yet. But we maintain that area, that property.
So how do you have access to that?
That's one of our why we're not active right now, because we got to get our own road through to that properties. We have to go through MTO yards property. Then there's a hydro line down that goes through there. And then Art Alfie Dampier had a property down there too.
Right.
So it's we have to get all these things cleared up, and then once we have free access, then we'll be good.
Yeah. The access is tricky down there right now, because what's the other Jock Dampier has property down there too, right?
Yeah. And Jimmy Nichols has
lots there.
They have the sand pit, and then he has a cabin there too.
Right.
Yeah. So
it'd be nice to see activity on the river over there, because it's such a nice place along over there. Got lots of potential.
It does, and I think pre-1937, the barges would run cars across the river down at the docks, and then that was the road to go on.
Oh.
That was the actual highway after that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why when you look at the landing from the marina, you'll see that kind of a clear area. That's where the barges would go there across there.
Okay.
So that's how they would get their cars to Terrace Bay and further east and Beardmore. Yeah. So
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Good information. I'm glad we got to talk to you.
yeah.